Hello. I was gonna say sorry I'm a few minutes late, but actually I realized I'm like an hour and a half late compared to what I was going to be, wasn't it? I was going to come on at 10 because I wanted to do 10 o'clock every Wednesday, but then Evie ended up going back to the hospital for her leg, and so now we are at 12:30. So hello, welcome. I will give just a minute in case anyone wants to join on during their lunch break. Ooh, I see Claire. I think you're watching. Hi, Claire. If anyone else wants to pop on, go ahead. If not, this will be saved. But again, apologies for the different timing. Right. So what's been going on this week? Well, yeah, like I mentioned, Evie's back to the hospital again this morning, and it's actually been a better 2 weeks with a 2.5-year-old with a cast on than I thought it was going to be. Because she could walk around and move and basically do all the things. Then on this past Monday, so 2 days ago, I took her back to the hospital to have it checked done, thinking it was going to get taken off. I had it was just going to get taken off. That was it. And then it didn't. Then they put it back on. But they put a different one on, and it's stressed me out because the one they put back on Monday, she wasn't allowed to walk on. And I've let myself get a bit worked up about it this week, the past couple days. How am I going to keep her from walking? Because if you guys have toddlers, especially rambunctious ones like mine, you'll know that keeping them still is not easy. And as the past couple days have gone on, I've been getting snappier with people and feeling just generally grumpier and like, oh, why aren't you doing what I want? And why aren't you responding in the way I want you to? And last night in my coaching mastermind that I'm in, I was asking people for their opinion on step parents and involvement in parenting and various things, and if my reactions were, out of line or not. And one of the women in my group asked me a really good question of, well, why is this bothering you so much? And I didn't really explain it in a segue. Some of the people I've been snapping at are my co-parent and his partner. And she said, why do you think that this is such a big deal to you? And it really hit me when I realized it's because I'm feeling the need to control things because I can't control what's going on with Evie's leg, and that uncertainty and that lack of control, although I have done so much work to let go of control, it creeps back in sometimes still. And when I'm trying to control things that aren't my control, I get snappy because turns out you can't control them. It doesn't work. So then I get like, ooh. So it just really hit me this morning that I'm snapping at people because I'm feeling the need to be in control of things that I'm not. Like her leg, like other people's reactions, like other people's actions. So it's been a good reminder this morning to go back to the Post-it note that I used to have up on my kitchen cupboards for months. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't. So I'm sharing that with you today as a reminder in case you guys need it. Focus on what you can control, let go of what you can't. And the only thing you can control is you and your actions and your reactions to things. You can't control what cast the doctors put on your kid's leg. You can't control what other people do or don't do. You can only control your reactions to them. So that's where we're at with that. The update I will just add to Evie's leg is that this cast that they put on Monday, which was a hard cast that she wasn't allowed to walk on, it got broken yesterday already, so day 2 of having the cast on. And she could bend her whole leg, which is not the point. So I took her back to the doctor today. They put a different cast back on, one that she can walk on. They gave her a special shoe and everything. And thank goodness she can now walk on it for the next week. We go back next Monday to check on it again. But I will say, as well as focusing on what I can control and letting go of the rest, just having her being able to walk has eased a weight from my shoulders because I won't have to spend all weekend going, sit down, oh my God, don't move, what are you doing? Which is what I was envisioning. So things are better on that front. That's probably actually enough for the chatting section for today because I've got 3 really good questions this week and I won't always be able to get to every question that I get. But I've had 3 of them this week, and they are really good questions, and I want to have time to address all of them. So I'm going to go straight into the questions, and yeah, see how far I get on them. So the first question that I got was, how do you stop caring about someone who doesn't care about you? And this, it got me right in my heart when I read that. I was like, because I understand so intensely the frustration of feeling like you care so much, and you're pouring so much into somebody else, and they're just not caring about you back. You may not be, maybe it's just an energetic thing you're not getting back. Maybe it's emotional or physical support in some way. But when any relationship feels misaligned, if it feels like the out of balance, it's so frustrating. But how do you stop caring about somebody who doesn't care about you? I don't think the answer is you stop caring about them. I think the answer is you put boundaries in place to protect your needs. It doesn't always mean you stop caring. Sometimes it can, but caring about somebody in and of itself isn't really something you can turn on and off. And it's not necessarily something you want to do. Like, caring for people is generally a good thing, but it's what you do with that care that's the important part. So if in this case, caring for somebody who doesn't care about you means that you are spending a lot of emotional energy on that person, and again, whether it's like actually helping them do stuff, or whether it's just thinking about them in your head, or answering a phone call all the time, but and being on constant call for them but not getting anything back. Whatever the dynamic is, this is the case where we need to put in place boundaries for ourselves. And I've talked about it before, but I will talk about it probably endlessly. Boundaries are something that we do for us, not for other people. They're not rules we put in place for other people. They're not things that we want other people to do or not do. Boundaries are all about us and what we do. Because it's as though I planned this. I didn't. Because back to what I was saying at the beginning, the only thing we can control is us and our reactions. So a boundary is something that we put in place. So it might be that we put a boundary in place that says, I'm not available to answer phone calls in these hours. If it's somebody who calls at a certain, late at night every night and needs all of your attention. And maybe it's like, I don't answer the phone after 9 p.m. Or maybe the boundary is, I can't show up to watch your kids at a moment's notice unless it's an emergency situation. Or you get to set your own boundary. Maybe you just say full stop, I don't get you. Maybe you say unless it's emergency. But whatever it is, you say, I can only watch your kids if I get at least 48 hours notice. And putting these boundaries in place in terms of what you're willing to do and not do is not the same as not caring. And that can be good or bad depending on how you're looking at it. If it's because you want to stop caring, like I said, I can't help you with that part. But if you're feeling guilty about it as well, of like, I don't want them to think I don't care, you can put in place boundaries and still care deeply about somebody. But that does not mean you have to be at their beck and call. The whole point of all this is that we care most about ourselves. And I know we've been conditioned to think that statement sounds selfish, but we can't give to other people when we're empty. So what we're trying to do here is love ourselves first and foremost. And sometimes that means protecting ourselves from energetic vampires, for lack of a better phrase. You can still care, but you don't need to spend that emotional energy, because, and even if it's not like doing things for somebody, but just thinking about them all the time and constantly worrying, and are they okay with this, and are they okay with that, and what if they make that decision, and oh gosh, that could blow up in their faces. That's not yours to take care of. That's not your job to worry about somebody else and their decisions, because worrying is going to get you absolutely nowhere in it. The only thing you can control is you, your actions, and your reactions. And anything outside of that, this is easier said than done. I'm aware of that. This takes a lot of practice. But if it's that kind of thing where you are spending all of your time thinking about somebody else and they're not thinking about you ever, let go of that worry. Let go of that responsibility, of that burden on your shoulders, And that might be journaling it out. It might be releasing that energy through a release, ritual. But it's letting go of that energetic pull, that connection, and focusing on your needs first. So that's that one. The next question is, how do you make time to do the healing that you need to do and do your own inner work? Journaling, whatever the healing work may be, when you've got work, family, kids, other responsibilities. And this is another really great one because it's not easy, is it? I would guess that if I polled like all of you and said, do you feel like you've got enough time in your life? Are you always busy? 95% of people will be like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. Because we are. We tend to fill our lives with stuff. And we've got lots going on. But busy is not the same as fulfilled. It's not the same as full and satisfying. And I will say, and this is coming from the queen of like trying to do all the juggle. Remember, I'm a single mom, although I've got a bit more time now that we're on 50-50. I work full-time at a corporate accounting job. I'm building a coaching business. I have my kids 50% of the time. And up until recently, I've had them like 80% of the time. So I understand the juggle, definitely. But we make time for what is most important to us. That is as simple as it gets. We choose where we spend our energy and where we spend our time. And there is always time for you if you choose to make that time. It might mean you have to give something else up for a while. It might mean some other things don't get done. It might mean the house is messier. It might mean the dishes get done every 2 days instead of every day. The laundry piles up. It might mean that you don't get to watch your Netflix shows. It might mean that you don't see your friends quite as often. It might mean, staying up an hour later or getting up an hour earlier, whatever it is. But there is always choice in how we spend our time. And I absolutely promise that when you put your needs first, everything else around will benefit. And for me, it's a constant reevaluation of the balance. So there's times when I do like journaling work, almost every night that week, and my house is an absolute state and nothing else gets done, and but I've done a lot of inner work on me, but everything around me is a bit falling apart. There's other times where I don't do any of my personal development work. I don't do any of my journaling or my listening to my coaching programs or reading the development books. But my house is spotless and the garden's done, and okay, my house is never spotless and the garden done. But I shift my priorities all the time. I personally have not found like a set schedule that works for me all the time, and I do these on these nights and that night, because what I need every day changes. And it's more about asking myself, all right, what do I need for here? But what do I need? Not what does everybody else around me need. So sometimes I need to wash the dishes and hoover the floor because I'm going to go insane if there's any more dirt. Sometimes I need to sit and watch Netflix. Sometimes I need to do my journaling, to do meditation, to spend an entire night in Voxer with my coaching people. It depends on what I need most. And when I start to feel wonky and out of alignment and grumpy and snapping at people, that is always an indication to me that I'm not listening to what I need, that I am either listening to what other people need more, or I am just ignoring my own needs and numbing out, whatever it may be. And then I have to bring myself back to, over and over again, I have to listen to what I need, and I have to make that choice to do that. It's easy to fall back into the patterns of numbing out on Netflix or, just going to bed early. Okay, I never go to bed early. But whatever your pattern is, we really are deeply habitual creatures. And it's so easy to get sucked back into it, even if you know it's not the best thing for you. And it's over and over and over again, reminding yourself, what do I need? How can I do that? What does my highest self need right now? And I will say, having a coach is super, super helpful here, because it's having somebody outside of you to bring you back to that place, to remind you of that. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I've said to my coaches, like, oh, I'm feeling this and that. And as I'm leaving the message even, I'll be like, oh, I know what I need here. I haven't stopped to ask myself what I need. Even just having that space where I know what someone's going to tell me is super helpful. But sometimes I don't do that myself. And sometimes I need my coach to say, when's the last time you stopped and checked in with yourself on what you needed? Oh yeah, it's been a while. So plug for coaching here. Obviously, that's what I do. It's what I believe in so strongly. But having somebody like that to help you is super important as well. Okay, final question is, do you feel like you pressed a reset button to live the life you have now, or has it evolved over time? Absolutely has evolved over time. So I feel like who I am at my core is who I've always been. But how I show up in the world, how I interact with the world, how I feel about people, things, the world in general, about myself, is drastically different than how I felt 2-3 years ago. But that wasn't sudden for me. It's been a very constant process over all that time. And that is generally how I believe it is for most people. I think so much can be done even in just a single coaching session, can be so powerful. And you can go to, do one meditation and have these huge shifts. You can have one coaching session and unlock so much that you didn't know was there. And that is very, very powerful. But the long-term change comes with long-term change. There is no shortcut to it. I think coaching is a shortcut as opposed to doing it on your own, definitely, because you've got somebody else there. You can increase the pace of the change. That's what I think a coach is for. I think this personal development work you can absolutely do on your own, but a coach increases the pace of change. In the same way you can go to the gym by yourself, but a personal trainer will get you the results that you want quicker. That's how I see a coach. It's like the personal trainer of the personal development world. But even still, there's only so fast you can do this work. Healing takes time. Change takes time. Changing long-standing mindset patterns takes time. And I absolutely did not flip a switch overnight. This has absolutely been a continuous thing for me and will continue to be. It's why at the moment my coaching offers are for 3 months. I'm considering playing with shorter options, so stay tuned and let me know if that is something you'd be interested in. But the reason that so far I've only offered kind of 3-month packages for the one-to-one coaching is because it takes time. I don't want to promise a whole bunch of change in a few sessions when the lasting time comes over time. I think even 3 months is just scratching the surface, to be perfectly honest. I think that's only enough to really kind of get you into like what's possible. And then it's a year. It's 2 years. I've been working with my coach for 2 years now. This is long-term stuff, and you get, you get little like setbacks all the time. It's part of the process. So something that came up for me this morning, I went, oh, I feel like I've covered this before. Why am I back here again? Like the letting go of control and focusing on what you can control, letting go of the rest of it. I've covered this so many times. But when I'm coming to it again today, I'm coming to it from a different perspective. I'm coming to it from here instead of from here where I started. Next time I hit this barrier, I'm going to hit it up here. Next time I hit it, I'll hit it up here. Every time we hit the same kind of barriers, we're coming at them with different knowledge, different experience. So that's kind of a long-winded way of saying it happens over time. There is no magic reset button. I really, really wish there was. It would make this a heck of a lot easier. Excuse me. But it all does take time. So that is longer than I anticipated talking today, because I know that this is a lunch break for some of you or checking in later. But like I said, those are really good questions. I wanted to cover them today. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh dear, good thing I'm wrapping up. I will do this every Wednesday, hopefully at 10 a.m. most weeks, but I'll let you know if it has to change. And keep an eye on my stories for your chance to ask the questions. I will leave it there before I have a huge coughing fit. Right. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.